Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Why'd you come to Egypt? Why'd you come to America?
For a job.
For a job?
Yeah.
You know it's illegal to cross the border like this, right?
Yeah.
You don't care?
Yes, I'm okay.
Hello all, Jace here. Today we're going to go over the video of our vice president finally decided to swing by the border. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the election coming up. We're going to go over the press conference that she led after she toured the border.
So Arizona, I think you all know, and this is why you are here, there are consequential issues at stake in this election. And one is the security of our border. The United States is a sovereign nation. And I believe we have a duty to set rules at our border and to enforce them. And I take that responsibility very seriously. We are also a nation of immigrants. The United States has been enriched by generations of people who have come from every corner of the world to contribute to our country and to become part of the American story. And so we must reform our immigration system to ensure that it works in an orderly way, that it is humane, and that it makes our country stronger. So I've just come from visiting the border and the port of entry in Douglas. I spoke with dedicated agents from Border Patrol and Customs officers who every day see the overflow of commercial traffic through the port. These men and women who work there and at other places along our southern border help keep our nation secure. And they need more resources to do their jobs, which is why we have and are in the process of investing $500 million to modernize and expand the port of entry here in Douglas. And why last December I helped raise the rate of overtime pay for border agents, and also why I strongly supported the comprehensive border security bill. Written last year, as you know, by a bipartisan group of senators, including one of the most conservative members of the United States Congress. That bill would have hired 1,500 more border agents and officers. It would have paid for 100 inspection machines to detect fentanyl that is killing tens of thousands of Americans every year. It would have allowed us to more quickly and effectively remove those who come here illegally, and it would have increased the number of immigration judges and asylum officers. It was the strongest border security bill we have seen in decades. It was endorsed by the Border Patrol Union. And it should be in effect today, producing results in real time right now for our country. But Donald Trump tanked it. He picked up the phone and called some friends in Congress and said, stop the bill. Because you see, he prefers to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And so even though Donald Trump tried to sabotage the border security bill, it is my pledge to you that as President of the United States, I will bring it back up and proudly sign it into law.
Okay, so Kamala left out a couple of details about this amazing border security bill. And we discussed it I discussed it on a video last week, I believe. She leaves out the little fact that the only time there would be an option to close the border is after an average of 5,000 illegal immigrants crossed per day for 7 days straight. Even then, the president would have the option to close the border. They could still choose not to do it and just let people keep on coming. The bill is targeted at processing asylum seekers instead of stopping illegal immigration. You know, they're talking now about, you know, border crossings are the lowest they've been in, you know, since Trump was president. They're leaving off the fact that that's because they're not crossing the border at the border. They're catching them early, shipping them to processing centers, and then just letting them into the country. The number of illegal immigrants coming into our country has not decreased in the slightest. And another thing, she keeps talking about Trump killed this bill. How weak is her leadership? If Trump could actually kill the bill when he was not even in an elected position, and she's the freaking VP of the country, she still couldn't get it through. Trump still had enough influence to kill it, even when he wasn't in an elected position. I know that she's trying to think it's some sort of a slam toward Trump, but really it just shows the weakness of her administration.
And let me say, the issue of border security is not a new issue to me. I was Attorney General of a border state for 2 terms. I saw the violence and chaos that transnational criminal organizations cause, and the heartbreak and loss from the spread of their illicit drugs. I walked through tunnels that traffickers used to smuggle contraband into the United States. I've seen tunnels with walls as smooth as the walls of your living room, complete with lighting and air conditioning, making very clear that it is about an enterprise that is making a whole lot of money in the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And my knowledge on how they work comes from the fact that I have prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. My team and I broke up a heroin trafficking ring in the Bay Area with ties to Mexican cartels. We took down a gang working with the Sinaloa cartel to traffic methamphetamine into the United States. We seized millions of dollars worth of cocaine from the Guadalajara cartel and broke up a drug trafficking operation, including pill mills and so-called recovery centers that were pushing opioids with deadly results. As Attorney General of California, it was 10 years ago that I brought a bipartisan group of American attorneys general and led that group to travel to Mexico City to meet with Mexican attorneys general to address this issue, and in particular, to increase intelligence sharing on gang activity, all of which allowed us to prosecute more human traffickers. And I started, as Attorney General, the first comprehensive report in the state of California analyzing transnational criminal organizations and the threats they pose to public safety and to the economy. So stopping transnational criminal organizations and strengthening our border is not new to me, and it is a long-standing priority of mine. I have done that work, and I will continue to treat it as a priority when I am elected President of the United States. And it is my pledge to you, understanding how solutions get formed, that I will reach across the aisle and I will embrace common sense approaches and new technologies to get the job done. Because I know transnational gangs coming across the border, trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings could care less who somebody voted for in the last election. They could care less. They've got one goal in mind. And it is therefore critically important that anybody who calls themselves a leader would work with other leaders for common sense solutions, understanding the pain and the suffering that Americans are experiencing if we don't work together to fix these problems. And look, transnational gangs, one of the things I know about them, they are always innovating. So to disrupt them, we must do the same. And that means, again, working together in real time, grounded on finding common sense approaches, not just about some rhetoric at a rally, but actually doing the work of fixing a problem. And as president, I won't only bring back the border security bill that Donald Trump tanked, I will do more to secure our border. To reduce illegal border crossings, I will take further action to keep the border closed between ports of entry. Those who cross our borders unlawfully will be apprehended and removed and barred from re-entering for 5 years. We will pursue more severe criminal charges against repeat violators. And if someone does not make an asylum request at a legal point of entry and instead crosses our border unlawfully, they will be barred from receiving asylum. While we understand that many people are desperate to migrate to the United States, our system must be orderly and secure. And that is my goal. And that is my goal. Securing our border also means addressing the flow of fentanyl into our communities. Fentanyl is a scourge on our country. The nature of it as a drug is such that it is highly addictive and it is highly lethal. So much so that using it one time only can be fatal. I have met far too many families, parents, loved ones who have lost a family member, a child, to fentanyl. And their grief is heartbreaking. And the devastation caused by fentanyl is being felt from rural communities to big cities. It's impacting communities across our country, regardless of where they are geographically, politically, or any other demographic you choose to talk about. It's a scourge in our country, and we have to take it seriously. And as president, I will make it a top priority to disrupt the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. And I know everyone here understands that most of the fentanyl in America comes from 2 cartels based in Mexico. Most often, they are smuggling it through vehicles at legal ports of entry, like the one I visited today. The fact is, border officers don't have enough resources and are only able to search a fraction of the vehicles that pass through their checkpoints. This is unacceptable. They need the resources to do their jobs. And as we could have done with that border security bill, I will surge support to law enforcement agencies on the front lines, more personnel, more training, and more technology, including 100 new inspection systems that can detect fentanyl hidden in vehicles. And we will make sure that our ports of entry, including airports and seaports, have additional state-of-the-art technology to detect fentanyl and the chemical tools used to make it. I will also double the resources for the Department of Justice to extradite and prosecute transnational criminal organizations and the cartels. Yes. I will ensure that we target the entire global fentanyl supply chain because we must materially and sustainably disrupt the flow of illicit fentanyl coming into our country. My approach takes into account also that the precursor chemicals used to make fentanyl are by and large made in China and then shipped to Mexican cartels and trafficked right here into the United States. Our administration demanded that China crack down on the companies that make those chemicals, and it has started to happen. But they need to do more. And as president, I will hold them to their commitment to significantly reduce the flow of precursor chemicals coming from China.
I think it's telling that she always talks about the terrible job she did as the Attorney General of California, in where they hand out free syringes for the heroin addicts. The whole state is a homeless, drug-infested dumpster fire, but that's what she touts to show her success for her work toward against illegal immigration. What's shocking is that she doesn't talk about anything she did in the last 3.5 years as the vice president of the United States. Of course, that's because she did nothing. Nobody cares about what she did as the attorney general. What was that, 15 years ago? Nobody cares. Even if we did care, all we got to do is take a look at California and see whatever she did wasn't very effective at fixing anything. Now, she has no record of ever reaching across the border for anything. She has the most progressive voting history in the history of the United States Senate. She doesn't reach across the border. And I will say, she keeps talking about Trump. Trump won't work with leaders, and she's going to make these leaders be compassionate about our troubles. They couldn't care less. I don't care about their troubles. They don't care about ours. What Trump did was he told these other leaders what his expectations were and what the ramifications would be if they didn't meet them. And guess what? They usually met them. That's how Trump handled it. She talks about her measures to fix the border. Now, I will say, number one, not kill and remain in Mexico probably would have went a long way toward solving this 3.5 years ago. Or not solving it, but at least stemming it. But that's neither here nor there. She talks a little bit there about fentanyl, and she goes into more. I cut out most of it. I saved you guys the hassle. I don't want you clicking off my videos early. But she goes into more detail about fentanyl's bad. In case you guys didn't know, fentanyl's bad. And then she talks about holding China accountable. How's she going to do that? How exactly is she going to do that? She's a part of the weakest administration. Other countries of the world are laughing at her. They're laughing at them. China just gets bolder and bolder. I'm surprised they haven't already taken Taiwan. They are not afraid of her. They don't care what she thinks. She's not stopping anything coming from China. And then, of course, she didn't mention how she was going to do that. Just that she was gonna. Take her word for it. She's gonna. And that goes to the core issue with the entire speech. Saying, I'm going to find solutions is useless. Is lip service. Everybody knows it. If I hear that from any politician, let alone a communist, I take it with a grain of salt. I assume they don't mean anything. They're just trying to get elected. And that's exactly what she's doing. I'm going to find solutions. What are these solutions? Why don't you have a plan? What is your plan? As of right now, the only solution she's mentioning is a bill that's already been voted down. What is she going to do if they vote it down again? Her plan is to push a bill that's already been voted down. It's already unpopular. She can blame Trump all she wants. It's not just Trump. If she proposes it again, they'll vote it down again because it's not a border protection bill. It's an amnesty generating machine. I'm getting worked up. She drives me crazy. I know she drives you guys crazy too, but you need to know what's going on, as do I. So there you go. It was about a 20-minute long speech. I cut it in half because the vast majority of it was extra worthless, not her usual worthless. There was a little content there, but like I said, it's all about what she's going to do without ever stating, number one, an actual plan, and number two, why she hasn't done it over the last 3.5 years. So here we go again. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, follow, subscribe, and we will see you for the next one.